without my glasses because I seen this close. I don't need my glasses to see that close. I need my glasses to see far away, like when I'm driving. My first video, not driving. It's kind of an interesting look. We'll see if it flies. Happy Independence Day, although this may not make it out until the 5th. Something interesting was said the other day in one of the things I was listening to, where they were saying that cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, it's seen as a right-wing, like Republican currency, or concept, and that liberals or Democrats are poo-pooing it or afraid of it or shunning away from it. I think that could be because there's been in the past so many stories from the mainstream media that kind of denigrate the whole concept, though slowly, and that's again fueled by the banking industry that wants to kind of keep people out of it until they get themselves entrenched in it and stock up enough for themselves. And they influenced the media, and the media made it sound like it was just for people who were doing drug deals and illegal stuff, when really there are more drug deals done through cash, dollars, than there ever are through cryptocurrencies. And I think it's a shame. I think that if you happen to be of a liberal bent, and again I consider myself pretty much in the middle, if you happen to be a liberal bent and you're using that as and you've heard bad things about cryptocurrencies, I'd ask you to reevaluate. The system is going to change. Like, we're getting and it was two things that came up recently across my feed that I thought were pretty interesting. First, I guess the president had tweeted out, hey, maybe we'll devalue our dollar to like our currency the same way that China and Russia are doing, to keep pace with their devaluation. We'll devalue ours, ha ha ha. Kind of like saying it half laughingly, but I believe what he's doing is trying to get that idea out in the public and shift the Overton window so that people start talking about it, or when it happens, it's less shocking. But I would not be surprised at all if in order to keep pace, he's forced to push the Fed into devaluing the dollar, and a sudden devaluation would mean things like cryptocurrencies and gold and silver will go up in price. So another reason to get into them now, if what I'm saying is correct, or what I believe to be happening is happening, and he's trying to just seed the idea until we get used to it enough that he can do it without a huge shock. So if that's the case, and then the second thing that came across my way was I'm gonna put the clip here, but it's I guess it's one of the administration's policy people, economic policy people. Well, bugs, Florida, who knew? It's like we live in a swamp or something. Talking about how, hey, maybe we need to return to some kind of gold standard or mixture of gold and some other kind of what he's trying to say is go back to hard money.
I think we need another Bretton Woods, or at least we need to be thinking in terms of a neutral reference point, a global unit of account. I mean, something like a gold standard, even updated to reflect a digital world and fast-moving financial flows.
Money that's tied to some hard asset. And again, if you didn't watch my earlier video about Bitcoin, Bitcoin is a hard asset. To try to do it quickly, because I don't want to make this too long a video. Money is the collection of time and energy put into an effort and then stored up onto something. And for gold, as an example, it takes time and energy to mine gold out of the ground, to refine it, and then press it into a coin. And it takes a lot because there's not much of it. So you're having to mine a whole big field, big scoop, just to get a little bit of gold. The difference being, we don't really know how much gold is on the planet. We think we know how much is above ground, but even that's kind of manipulated. Regardless, it is a hard asset because it takes time and energy to pull it out of the ground. That's what makes it money, not currency. Currency can be, and fiat currency especially, can be printed up just pieces of paper. The same amount of energy to make a $1 bill as it takes to make a $50 bill. So they're not really, and they're not tied to gold that's long since gone away, right? There's nothing it's tied to. It's just however much they want to print, and they now hide how much they print a year. They hide that number from us any longer. So they can inflate it away to valueless, which is what they've done over time. Anyways, so Bitcoin is similar to gold. It takes a lot of energy and time to calculate the algorithm to unlock the next block, right? It's a lot of energy and a lot of calculation power. If you don't understand Bitcoin, think of it in these terms. There are only so many prime numbers between 1 and a million. And the calculation is going through and trying to calculate, is 1 prime? Yes. Is 2 prime? Yes. Is 3 prime? Yes. Is 4 prime? No. 5 prime? Yes. So it's going along, and as it gets further and further out, it becomes harder and harder to calculate what the next prime number is. Every time you find that this calculation finds a prime number, it unlocks a block. Well, the calculating whether it's prime is a very extremely simplified version of what the Bitcoin algorithm is doing. The Bitcoin algorithm is trying to find the next, space that calculates to what the algorithm says. And it's only going to do this 225 million times. It's only going to find the right number, and then after that, it's done. So there'll only ever be, which is how it differs from gold a little bit, is there'll be a finite number of it. And so those blocks become valuable because there's only 25 million of them, and it takes time and energy to unlock a block. Like it takes time and energy to mine gold out of the ground. That's why Bitcoin is money. Regardless, it's better because you can transfer digital currencies across the country, across the world, very rapidly, right? And the other part of it is the shared ledger. There's a single ledger repeated over millions of, hundreds of thousands, millions of computers, like stored on every computer all over, like a bunch of different computers all over the planet, so that no one can cook the book and say, I've got one too. Like you can't just like take a picture and make a copy of it on your computer. You know how you do that? Can't do that with Bitcoin because it's a single ledger that's repeated many places, and all the ledgers have to agree that this block belongs to this person, or this part of this block belongs to this person. Anyways, all that to say, when you look at that clip and the president's tweet, they're signaling that we are making the transition from our loose, I don't know what you call it, fiat currency, our dollar, which is not regulated, not tied to any hard asset. We're starting to seed in the mind of people. We're going to devalue and then switch over to a digital currency, which will likely be based in large part on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies. So educate yourself. Don't believe the media that's going to at one time feed you A, it's a big bubble, and then B, this is the next big thing. Research it yourself, make up your own mind. I've made up my mind. I truly believe we're going to be transitioning over, so I'm putting some aside to get into cryptos. Not as much as I can afford without worrying about losing anything, because I do believe that that's where we're making a switch. And I don't want to be the only one doing it. I would like for other people to get along and do it as well. There are a ton of great YouTube channels that will tell you about how to get in, and maybe I can do a little more information that way. I don't think my role right now is to educate on how it's done. I can do it one-on-one, but I don't think I could do it over video. But I would like you to become aware of it, and recognize that this is likely where we're going to be going. Gotta go. Bye.
So you like movie quotes, and you gotta be dressed anyways. Why don't you check out my Threadless store and get all the Earl t-shirts you can handle.